In this video, we're going to talk about the year in review, how I generated this much money using covered calls and cash secure put in 2019. I'll tell you what, it was a phenomenal year. Stick around. I know you're going to like this one.
Let me show you my eyes.
Hey, welcome back everyone. It is time for another red hot covered call video. Well, in fact, it is my year in review for 2019. This is where a guy just like you is showing you his numbers to motivate and inspire. I absolutely do this in most videos because I know for a lot of you, you really get motivated when you see the money. But look, I try to bring it to you straight talk style. I want to bring it down so we're comfortable with the strategy. You know, learning options can be like learning a second language. But this selling premium strategy is so easy, it won't take long if you start banging the YouTube videos, getting your financial education. Tell you what, getting your experience. That's the key. I've been saying that for the past 3.5 years on this channel. Get your experience. And that's why I show you my trades. We talk about them so maybe you learn something. Look, I'm not some guru on the hill. I'm just a guy just like you. And I'll tell you what, I started out apprehensive. I started out not wanting to make a mistake. And I started out paying the gurus all those $50 a month, $100 a month service fees. And I'll tell you what, at the end of the day, man, I wasn't ready. And in fact, I found out that I really needed a research tool, kept the numbers in front of me. And that's why I created the free CTP dashboard. You can go to my website, ctpdashboard.com. Been offering that up for over a year. I think it's going on 2 years now. It's a great place to start your next covered call candidate research. That's what we have to do. We have to research our stocks. We have to own that research because remember, when we buy a stock and write a covered call, we own the risk of owning that stock. Now look, let's go ahead and get to this. If you've never been to my channel and you like what you're hearing, I want you to subscribe to the channel. It's right there and it's free. And hey, look, if you like this video today, bang that like button. It lets me know you like what I'm doing. Now what we're doing is this, we are talking about my numbers for 2019. It was a great year. I did not meet my goal, but that does not deter me. To say I can make over 22% using an investment strategy that I learned just 3 years ago, man, I'll take that every day of the week, considering I was a failing swing trader, day trader. Look, times have changed. I sell premium. We sell the risk to somebody else. We collect that premium, that guaranteed monthly income we talk about all the time. I call it my cash printing machine. Let's go ahead and get to this because this can take a bit. I want to break down all of the elements this year. I understand a lot of you retirees want to see a track record of success before you invest any money in some sketchy strategy. Well, one, I'm going to tell you this is not a sketchy strategy. In fact, it's the only options investment strategy you're allowed to do in a 401k plan. Remember, we're covered. We own the shares. So generally, we're making money on every trade. Now, that doesn't come without risk, and it isn't a guarantee. That's where we have to get our financial education, and then we can do it and have success. Now, as a retiree, you're looking for that monthly income, right? We need to generate the monthly income so we can live life in retirement. Hey, we got bills. Maybe we just want to live the good life. That's how I approach all of my numbers. When you see all of my trades and you see all of my spreadsheets, I'm keeping track as if I'm in retirement. I'm not in retirement. I want to know if I can learn a skill, can I use it to generate real income? And that's what we've done here. So over the past 3.5 years, I have generated over $162,000. In fact, that's $163,000 rounded up. Now that's buying a stock and writing a covered call and dividend capture and stock appreciation, cash secured puts. You know, it's the selling premium strategy. So that number divided by 3.5, you can really see that you could generate some real income. Now, I break it down yearly because I want to set goals for myself. I always set goals. This year it was $55,000. Last year it was $50,000. The year before it was a mere $18,000. And so far I've been able to hit my number every year, except this year. Now, this year I had a lofty goal of 55,000. I did not achieve that. I found that I started to slow down my trading at the end of the year because of a lot of different reasons. But with that said, I have found that I can consistently make over 20% using this strategy. Now, how does that break down? Well, that's $49,000 for the entire year. That's over $4,100 a month. As you could see, my monthly totals, I missed achieving my goal of $2,500 a month every month. In fact, I didn't reach that $2,500 number 3 times. Although November was very close, only missed it by $40. I had some phenomenal blowout quarters where I had 5 and 6 stocks all working at the same time while the market's rocketing higher. You're going to see some big months, you're going to see some small months, but consistently throughout the year, that's $4,100 a month, $49,000 a year, 22% on about $225,000. That's cash on cash. Now, of course, the S&P 500 was up nearly 30%, but look, last year it was down 12%. The year before that, it was up over 20%. So you're getting these fluctuations in the stock market now because the numbers are so big. What I want is that consistent strategy that consistently brings me steady gain. And in this case, I'm proving out that I can make anywhere from 18 to 25%. And I absolutely love that coming from a loser swing trading strategy. Now let's do a deep dive on my numbers. I hope you could see them. I'm on my laptop with a smaller screen. Let's break this down. With stock appreciation, dividend capture, cover call writing, cash secure put selling, $49,000. That's almost 22%. Of course, we just talked about my 3-year totals. I'm telling you, you can do this. This is a strategy. If you get your financial education, you get your experience, I'm telling you, I think you too can experience the same success. Now, most of my profits early in the year came from those leveraged ETFs. Do you remember when I did those videos on using the UDOW and the TQs? The Dow 3X leveraged ETF, UDOW, and the TQs, that's the 3X leveraged NASDAQ. And as the markets were tanking into December, I told you that I knew they were going to rally them up. And sure enough, on January 3rd, they started the rally back to all-time highs. I was able to buy those ETFs pretty cheap, rallied them higher. Now, if you watch those videos, you know I did this with discipline. I was a little worried, right? I mean, if you go to YouTube and watch all the videos on leveraged ETFs, they're pretty discouraging. Well, because I was trading the directional move in the stock market, I felt very comfortable. I'm not buying an ETF on a sector that may hit or miss. I'm playing the markets, either the Dow, S&P, or NASDAQ. Well, I decided to use UDOW and the TQs. And they paid some 7 and 8% per trade. And I wasn't overreaching. I would buy them in the 50s and write a $3 out of the money strike and pick up $3 and $4 in premium. It was an unbelievable trade. And because it was directional and the markets were heading higher, I was having success. I did over 21 trades using those 3X leveraged ETFs. Now, I'm hoping to do that in 2020 because I think we get some volatility this year as well. I do that because I did my research. If you're ever going to use leveraged ETFs, you need to know what you're getting into. They are a bit risky. But with that said, I used them to my advantage in 2019. Now, I went back and watched last year's year in review video, and the first thing I noticed, I traded half as much this year than last year. And what that tells me is this: I'm getting better at this in that I'm finding better trades, more profitable trades, and I don't have to do it as much. I literally did half the trades I did last year. Now this year I did 49 covered calls, 14 cash secure puts, 13 times I had my shares taken away, 2 times I was assigned somebody's shares. I had 45 option buybacks. You know what I do there, right? I love to write a covered call, and as the trade moves towards expiration, and if the option I got paid falls to where I can buy it back cheaper, alleviating the obligation, I'll buy it back and I'll look to make some more premium. Did that 45 times. I had 18 trades expire worthless. You know, these days with these brokerage houses not charging fees, It's not a hurdle anymore to buy back these options when they're profitable. You know, there used to be a day where they would charge a fee. Well, they don't do that anymore. So now I can buy them back once they're profitable, but I always love when my shares are taken away because I've made max gain. I know a lot of you don't like it when your shares are taken away, but the reality is when you buy that stock, write that covered call, and they take away your shares, you've made max gain. Love it when I make max gain. And I did that quite a bit in 2019. Let's talk about some of the money part of this. You know, my biggest one-time trade turns out to be a trade I made with Alibaba. You know, I was trading some 300 and 400 shares of Alibaba. In fact, I got stuck with a couple cash secure puts on Alibaba, and I ended up with more shares than I probably wanted. But my biggest one-time trade, I made $6,500. Now, if you watched my video earlier this year, you know I wasn't happy with my overall trade on Alibaba. I think I owned it for over a year. I was writing covered calls and selling cash secure puts, but it never took off for me. Only made 5% holding Alibaba for an entire year. I'll tell you, you have to have an ironclad stomach to own some of these high volatile stocks. Now, my smallest crumb of the year was an $85 crumb. That was with Microsoft. You know how I love to do my weeklies. I love using those great stocks. Just pick up a crumb here, crumb there. Man, $100 on this stock, $100 on that stock. All of a sudden, we're talking real money. So I use Microsoft for my weekly calls because you can write that tight covered call and collect some decent premium. Now, my biggest percentage trade gain was with the TQs. Look, when the TQs were rallying off the bottom, right? The NASDAQ was rallying out of that hole that was generated from last year. Man, I was able to buy the stock, pick a $3 or $4 strike price above my stock purchase price, and then I was getting $3 and $4 on the premium. So these cash on cash percentage gains for less than 30 days were unbelievable. And in this case, on one particular trade, I made 15% in a 30-day window. Now, my smallest crumb was Microsoft, making less than 1%. But look, at the end of the day, again, on a weekly trade, we're not looking for big percentage gains like we are for the 30 days. The 30 days, we're giving that option buyer time. And when we do that, we get the larger premiums because we're giving them that time. On a weekly trade where you're only giving them a couple days, you're not going to get much time value. Well, it proves out with a lot of those weeklies. You just don't get the cash on cash percentage gain like you'd like to. But again, it's a crumb. And I love collecting one crumb, two crumbs. All of a sudden, we're talking real money. Now, as you can see, my biggest month was April. Man, over $10,000. Now, I know a lot of you are scratching your head saying, look, man, how are you knocking down 10 grand in a month? Well, remember, I have anywhere from 4, 5, and 6 stocks that make up that $225,000. On that month, I had them all working and the markets were skyrocketing. I was getting great out of the money premiums and they all were working for me. That was a great month, but I go from making that to having a July where it didn't even meet my number. You know, I want to make $2,500 a month as a goal. In July, I only made $1,700. Now, with that said, I hit that monthly goal 8 times, and that's pretty phenomenal. November was close. I was only $40 out, but still didn't meet my goal. Gives me motivation to try to hit the goal every single month in 2020. Now, of all these trades, everybody asked me about my losers. Now, if you're on the CTP Dashboard Facebook page, you know that I bought PG&E. And I had an idea with PG&E because it was paying such a large premium for such a cheaply priced stock. But it comes with risk. And man, when I bought the stock and then wrote the first covered call, pocketing over $1,400, man, I was living large. Man, I thought I knew what I was doing. Then PG&E turns on me. And sure enough, I tried to write another covered call, had to buy that back. Next thing you know, we get horrible news. I end up losing on PG&E. I lose a flat $1,000. After you take my purchase price, my premiums I collected on the 2 covered calls, and the stock loss when I sold it, well, it was a $1,000 loser. Now, Wynn turns out to be a loser for me as well because I have owned Wynn for a long time. But here's the thing. I wasn't trading Wynn. I just had that FOMO about Wynn where I just felt like it was trading in the 120s all year. My cost basis is 137. And man, I'm sitting there thinking this thing is going to pop and I'm just going to miss that rally. And sure enough, it did. It actually popped above 120, 130, got near 140, man, did not write any covered calls. Then when it started to fall and we're getting close to the end of the year, I'm going to take it as a loss because I want to use that against my gains for my taxes. So that's what I did. I ended up selling Wynn, losing about $1,000 to $1,200. But hey, we wash our hands of it. We move on. Now, one last thing before we move on to my favorite trade of the year. I did a Southern trade in September where I was trying to collect that extra dividend. I talk about this all the time where I'll take a great utility stock, collect that 5% dividend, but on the off months, I try to write that out of the money covered call where I'm just picking up 30 cents or 40 cents, just pocket an extra dividend. Well, I tried that with Southern. I've done it many times and in fact have been successful. But on this particular trade, as the markets start to tail off, everybody jumps into the value stocks and they start buying Southern. So I ended up buying back an option so my shares weren't taken away. I added $1.40 to my cost basis. And man, you know, one of my golden rules is if I buy back and I have to add cost basis, I'm going to sell the stock or write the next covered call that's profitable. Well, in this case, that's what I did. I wrote a covered call and sure enough, Southern fell a little. Then I wrote a covered call for 4 months. It actually ends in January of 2020. I ended up picking up $3, which pays for this $1,400 that I added to my cost basis. And with the trade still on, I haven't closed the trade yet. Yes, it's a $1,400 loss for this year, but when the trade closes in January, it's actually going to be a profit for 2020. See, that's how we do this. I never book any sort of profits until the trade's over. And that's what we're doing with a couple trades right now as we get into 2020. I made 3 trades in December, which roll into January. I didn't take those profits in 2019. We take them in 2020 because that's how you would handle your books in retirement. Right? You're not going to fudge your numbers because that's like cheating against yourself in golf, man. Who is benefiting from that? So look, before we get to that favorite trade of 2019, just take a look at these numbers. If you're sitting back wondering if the covered call strategy is one that you can use to generate income in retirement, all I'm going to tell you is this. I believe getting your financial education, getting your experience, you can do it. And in fact, I am living proof because remember back here in 2016, I literally went from not knowing anything, talking with Jerry, getting comfortable with it, to actually doing it. And by August of 2016, I was doing it with 3 and 4 different stocks per month. Now, you know I'm a little more active than most traders, but I'll tell you what, it keeps me motivated, it keeps me inspired to always reach my goal. I tell you all the time, set goals because when you set goals for yourself, you're always trying, reach for them. And that's what I hope for you in 2020. Now look, let's go ahead and get to that favorite trade for 2019, and I think you're going to like it. Okay, so I know if you've stuck with me this long, you're interested. Absolutely love that you hung around to watch my favorite trade for 2019. For all you cash secure put players, you're going to love this one. And in fact, since we released the upgraded CTP dashboard, I am finding that more and more of you use cash secure puts exclusively. I'll tell you what, I didn't know there were so many people interested in the cash secure put. So this is what we're going to do. For 2020, I'm going to focus on doing some frequent cash secure put podcasts. Yes, I'm going to do some car session podcasts where we're going to talk about cherry picking those cash secure put profits. You absolutely know I love using the market volatility, generating some serious returns. And in fact, my trade of the year is a cash secure put. We're going to talk about it right here. But look, for all of you that are interested in the upgraded CTP dashboard and what it is, all you have to do is go to ctpdashboard.com, click on upgraded CTP dashboard. It is the ultimate covered call cash secure put research tool. In fact, the Where Are They Now spreadsheet helps you with finding that next great cash secure put trade. It's a dynamic research tool that I use to find my next great covered call stock or that next great cash secure put. Love using the upgraded CTP dashboard. Look, if you're interested, go there, check it out. I'll tell you, for everyone that signed up, I want to tip my hat and say thank you. The cash secure put is one that I absolutely love for volatility. And back in August, the markets were gyrating so hard, so heavy, that downward volatility was paying huge cash secure put premiums. And like I've always told you, I love to write a cash secure put under support so I get a little bit of wiggle room on the downside if I didn't pick the date correct. But then I'm hoping it goes higher, and as it goes higher and it trades further away from the strike price, that premium that I got paid will start to shrink, because the likelihood of the stock finishing at or below the strike is unlikely. I can buy that option back or let it go to expiration, picking up some very quick premium. I use it on those volatile days with stocks I want to own. And in this case, I wouldn't have minded owning the TQs at 55. So let me go ahead and show you this trade. When the markets were tanking, the TQs got down to about 55 a share. And as you can see, right now they're rocketing above 88 a share. We have bounced off of this bottom, and it's unbelievable that I timed it perfectly and was able to collect this fat premium in such a short amount of time. Let me show you the breakdown of the trade. Now, the reason I love this trade is because, like I told you at the beginning of the year, when the market was at the bottom, I started buying UDOW and the TQs and writing those out of the money strikes, pocketing some serious cash on cash gains. Well, when it starts to get a bit too high, I backed off and waited for the markets to peel back. And last year, they did that with a little bit of consistency. And every time it did that, I looked at that support line on the TQs. And when it fell to near 55, I decided I was going to use a cash secure put. Now, on this day, the TQs was down some $8. So I was able to generate some serious downward volatility. So the premium for this trade was going to be big. I started doing the math on this trade, and when I looked for a January 2020 55 cash secure put, think about this for a second. I'm going to put up $5,500. Somebody's going to pay me a premium to assign me their TQ shares at 55. Now, if I've done my homework right and I've sold this cash secure put near support, then this thing should turn around and head higher. Well, of course, I almost picked the exact day that it rallies higher, and it never looked back. On this day that the TQs were down some $8, I was able to pick up $9.10 for this 5-month trade. Now, when you do the math on this trade, it turns out to be 16%. Somebody paid me $910 for a $5,500 investment. That's right. When we sell that cash secure put, we're putting up the money to buy somebody's shares. Now, that person needs insurance, right? We become an insurance company at that point. They can't lose any more than $55 a share, so they will pay the premium to me. Well, in this case, they wanted that 4 and 5 months of insurance, so they paid me $9.10, or $910 on 100 shares. That's $910 on a $5,500 investment. And as the markets rallied, that $9.10 started to shrink. $8, $7, $6, $4. I could have bought this thing back many times, but I decided to wait to the very end. Sure enough, late December, decided to close the trade just so I can close it for 2019. Absolutely love the trade. I'm now going to take that $5,500 and put it towards another trade for 2020. Hey, look, I'm going to leave it right there. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you come back. I hope you come back every single week where I'm going to show you my trades. We're going to talk about them, so maybe you'll learn something. Look, 2020 is going to give us volatility in the stock market. And if you have your financial education, you have your experience, you'll be able to enjoy the success that we've been having over the past 3 years. Look, the most important thing is this. You watch my videos, you get a little morsel of information so you get comfortable with the strategy, but most important, you go out and do it. I want you off the bench. I want you to have success. Look, you can do this. If anything, I am living proof. Just 3.5 years ago, I was like you. I was apprehensive, didn't want to make a mistake. But look, once I started the strategy, once I started selling the risk, selling premium, it has been nothing but success for me. Look, if you like what you heard today, I want you to bang that like button. It lets me know you like what I'm doing. While you're at my YouTube channel, subscribe. It's free. I want you to be a part of it. Look, 2020 is going to be another year for which we can have success. It's about being motivated, being inspired, so you have success, so you can make income in retirement or just live the good life. Hey, look, until next time, may all your covered calls be profitable.